Alright. Hi everybody, my name is Matt, this is Preston, he's my CPR mannequin that I help teach people on. Today we're going to be talking about, in week 1 of anatomy, the language of anatomy of the body regions, number 1, and then anatomical terminology, number 2. So let's just start off right now, why not? So we're going to have, starting with A, is the hallux. The hallux is actually on the foot of the human body. It's that point of the anterior side of the foot, just that little ball. I'm not sure you can see my foot, but it's this little portion right here, okay? Next we'll go down into the axillary. The axillary region is actually more or less with the armpit. Think of like axe spray, or if people tend to want to do a thermometer to the axillary armpit, that's what they would do in our axillary temperature. Next we'll be moving on to the buccal area. The buccal area is on the cheek of the person, and that's going to be the region that we're going to be looking at later. Next is the pollux. The pollux, or pollex, as some people will say, is going to be the thumb area, kind of like a really good thumbs up. Next we'll go into the patellar part of the region. The patellar part of the region is actually going to be more the kneecap itself. A lot of distinct people have a lot of injuries to the patella, like patellar tendinitis, or with inflammation, or have kneecaps. They have their internal, interior, posterior, lateral injuries to that patellar area. Next we'll go into the oral, which is obviously the big O in oral is going to be like your kissing lips, O. And of course when you eat and digest, that would be the first entry in digestion. Next we'll go into the brachial area, or the region. The brachial region is honestly at the forearm, or the brachial is at the armpit, where they want to do like a brachial plexus, brachial arteries, underneath the armpit there, into the brachial part of the bicep there, okay? Next we'll move into the antebrachial, which is the forearm. The forearm, of course, most times if you're in the healthcare industry, they'll start to look at the antebrachial area for an IV. Going into J is cruel. Cruel is, or cruel, is it cruel? Cruel. Is the thigh region. It's the big old thigh region right here. Next we're going to the umbilical area. The umbilical is where the big babies, the moms, have their babies. If not, of course, they clip the cord there. That's really important. Next we'll go into the femoral area. The femoral area is actually more the medial thigh, along the inner thigh is the medial thigh region. Okay, then we'll go into the calcaneal area, which is the heel. A lot of times we tend to, for major sports that involve a lot of impact in our feet, we'll go into that type of heel calcaneal portion of an injury if it comes to it. Next, usually a lot of skateboarders have that, I've noticed. Next we'll go into the sural, which is the calf portion of the leg. So the sural area is right here in the calf. It's a great place to have a nice little Charlie horse every now and then if there's lack of potassium. And so hopefully you guys are hydrating enough not to do that in terms of like a good contraction. But anyway, next we'll go into the popliteal area. Popliteal or popliteal is probably the best way of saying it. It's going to be the posterior of the kneecap. So again, this region right here. So you have the this is the patellar area. This is the popliteal area. Patellar and the popliteal. Very important. Okay, next we're going to the olecranon region. The olecranon region is going to be on the elbow side of the posterior elbow, or elbow that we normally call it in the region there. Next, moving on into the olecranon area, which is going to be, or the region, is going to be the shoulder. Okay, a lot of times, a lot of baseball players tend to screw up their shoulder, or the olecranon process. The chromial process, or chromial region. Anyway, next one is going to be into the occipital region. The occipital region is going to be the back portion of the head. A lot of times it's in the lower part of the back, but a lot of people who get injuries are skateboarders, who don't wear helmets, or bicyclists, so on and so forth. That's going to be the area of speech and even visual processing. Mostly visual processing. So anyway, hope that helps, and this is going to be the body regions and the anatomical terminology, part 1. Alright, talk to you guys soon. Bye.